Hello, my name is Jonathan, and welcome to my channel. We're outside here today in the fresh prana, and how I usually start my day is before I meditate, I'll go for a walk, around the block, and I like to look at all the flowers and smell the flowers even. And it brings me a sense of connection and a sense of peace and willingness and openness to allow new in. And when we breathe in fresh prana, it's free. It's a gift from God. It's free. It's free. And then I like to have breakfast. And then I like to practice yoga and meditation, gentle and restorative yoga. And what a difference, because when we go for a walk before I practice, we shake off the sloth, so to speak, like when we first wake up, out of sleep. So, but first, I kiss my cats and I hug the cats. I hug Valerie and whoever else is around. And usually my husband is still sleeping. But we've been working hard on clearing out debris and clearing up the yard. And if we want to achieve something, we work on it little by little each day. And slowly, but like slow and steady wins the race. So back to the walk. So when we walk, and when I have to be somewhere, I like to allow myself to wake up. And I imagine you do, or maybe you are a person who rolls out of bed and forgets to take care of yourself. And I used to be that person, and it really, we're worthy of carving out extra time for ourselves for self-care, and then we fill up our cup of goodness and self-care, and then we're able to share the overflow naturally. So getting back to walking slow, so it's so nice to walk slow. And we live in a society where everything happens so fast, so it's nice to take it back a notch and walk slow, because when we slow down, we're slowing down the oscillating thoughts, and we're also able to take in life. And we're able to take in the gifts that God gives us on a daily basis, such as the smallest thing, a flower, a beautiful smelling flower, and appreciating and recognizing beauty within the flower. Knowing that we are simply a tiny cog, COG, is simply a tiny cog in the wheel of life, in the greater picture. But know that when we take care of ourselves, others don't have to take care of ourselves. Others don't have to take care of us, because we're already taking care of ourselves. when we overcome addiction, a new life begins. And this is what God intended us. This is what the universe intended for us. Speaking to you now, I'm 8 years sober. And I was someone who couldn't stop drinking or couldn't stop smoking pot. But that was my belief system. But I know that I'm stronger than that, and know that you're stronger than that, and know that, you see me. This is a serious video. Notice that, you know, if you know me, or you know that I'm very positive and uplifting, and it's because I have been learning to take care of myself on a daily basis. And I do things that are good for me. Before I quit drinking, I heard a voice, and I feel guided by my guides, and by my soul, and by God to talk about this. I heard the message, your life is going to change dramatically, and it did. I started working at a health food store. And then I quit drinking. And then I surrounded myself with a health food store, and I've been there 8 years already. 8 or 9 years. And I'm so grateful because I took the time, and still take the time to learn and to listen and to observe, and to see, like, hey, this is valuable in life. Health is valuable. My health is valuable. Our health is valuable. Our community health is valuable. And then I started taking yoga. And my first class that I took was when I was about 17. And this was when I attended the meeting school, which was a Quaker boarding school in Ringe, New Hampshire. And that was for my last years of high school. And I remember we were at the meeting house, and I had a really sweet teacher, and she reminds me of my teacher now, and she also reminds me of myself and others. But that was when I was 17, and I took my first yoga class with my friends in the community at the meeting school. We lived in a community of over 50 people. And I took my first yoga class, and I was like, this is yoga. This is amazing. This is just what everyone needs. I felt more in my body. I felt more in my heart. I felt less anxious. I felt less nervous. I felt more empowered, more inclined to be kind. To be kind to myself, to be kind to others. And so now, I've been teaching gentle and restorative yoga since last February, and I'm about to get my 200-hour certificate on the 28th of June. We're having a community kirtan. And kirtan is devotional music, so if you feel inclined, if you feel inspired, please do so. Please come. It's at Love Yoga Shala. But I'm talking about this because I feel like we live experiences, but these experiences can help other people. So, in the beginning when I started working at the health food store, I um I felt the light, I felt the pull to start taking yoga classes. So I did, because that's when I stopped drinking. I was like on the verge of stopping to drink. So I just felt the light. I felt light guide me across the street to take yoga. And then I saw other people, and I took that leap of faith. I took that trust, that courage, that intuitive nudge that I felt to take yoga. So then you take that first step and you go. And so I saw other people. I'm like, hey, those people look familiar, and they seem like like-minded people. So when we listen to the intuitive nudge from the light, it's not a heavy feeling. It's a light feeling, and we're all born with discernment. So I felt guided to go into this yoga studio across the street, and then that's where I met my teacher. And then I followed her for years. I've been following her for years. And her name is Parvati Om. And I knew in my heart that my life was going to change dramatically after quitting drinking and then taking yoga. And then, so she moved, and then she moved into a little green cottage, a little studio, and I always felt by God that I needed to uh, teach from her, learn from her. And then years went by, and then she has her own studio, Love Yoga Shala. And this place is so authentic and so sweet and supercharged, and I have the blessing and the privilege to teach yoga 2 days a week there. And I'm so grateful because my life has changed for the better, like the angels and my guides and God has said, that the moment it was like my last night of drinking 8 years ago. And I just feel like people need to talk about this, and we need to stay open with each other and create this dialogue, because that's how we're going to heal. I woke up, and that was my last night of drinking, and I said to myself that I never ever want to feel like that. So how many of you have said that you don't want to feel like crap? Let's speak the truth. So, and those voices were right. And then I started to write poetry more, and then poetry came through as messages. And then right now what I'm focusing on in my life is finding my micro SD card, which has my poetry book. But my husband said, thankfully, my husband says that if I set up an email, with Microsoft Word, that I can easily bring it up, and it might have been saved. But I'm still determined to find the micro SD card. It's a small card, and it was in my tablet, and it has my first book of poetry on there. And that's one of the things that I'm choosing to do, because I don't want to be scattered, and I have faith in myself that I'm going to find it. Or simply, I go on Microsoft Word and see if I saved it. But first I need the guidance of my husband, because my husband's a genius with computers. And he's a really good baker. So, one more thing that I want to talk about, and he's an artist too, like myself, and he likes to write, but he hasn't written in a while. Speaking of writing, so there's this universal law. So like when we stop doing something that is harmful to ourselves, we have to implement, we have to bring in, we have to do something else in place of that by natural law that is good in order to receive waves of goodness. And so what I started doing was going on tutu runs and practicing yoga and even practicing jazzercise in the backyard in a costume, honestly. And and so positive changes have taken place. And I moved out from where I used to live, and now I'm living in a healthy home now. And you know, we're not here to be sucked into life draining energy situations. That's not why we're here. We are here to be of inspiration, to be of healing, just by simply being here with our energy. Knowing that we are enough, that we are enough, that we are enough, and that we are love incarnate on this planet. And the Pleiadians say this. The Pleiadians are our star brothers and sisters. We are them. We are all a family of light. And so, positive change takes place when we take the steps towards to receive help. I talked to my mom about this. My mom has reminded me of this so that when we want to get help, the first step to go get help, that is a sign of intelligence. And it takes courage. And so then I started to write poetry, and then I started to write music. I don't know how to read or write music, and I don't judge myself for it. And I heard that one of the Beatles, through my friend Ken, shout out to Ken, he said that in one of our conversations, he said that I think Paul McCartney doesn't know how to read or write music because he didn't want that to distract him. He just want, you hear the melody and then you hear the words. So then I replace drinking and smoking pot with writing music, tutu runs, practicing yoga, and going through my year-long yoga teacher training, 200-hour. And I'm very grateful that it was long and extended and one-on-one by the grace of God. And then I started to sing, and I told myself, I want to sing. So then I decided to sing. And those were the gifts that I've tapped in and awakened within myself. And you may be tapping in and awakening within yourself your gifts. And then being an empath and feeling others. I ought to stop this video right now, but I just wanted to come through today. I know it's been a while since I made a video, but I didn't want to just make a video to make a video. I wanted to put in the effort and to deliver. So I wanted to come here now. And so thank you for being here now. And thank you for being here on this earth together. We are enough. And there's the cat. Okay, sparkle on in good health, happiness, and wholeness. May we feel peaceful and do things that make us feel peaceful in mind, body, spirit. And may we feel uplifted, and may we be receptive to the grace of God. God bless you, and see you next time. Sparkle on!